Hi, welcome to Saturday Sampler, the basic for November 2021. This month, we're going to go over half square triangles. We're going to make them a little bit larger than the 7/8 rule, and we're going to trim them down. We're going to finish the basket with this half triangle on the edge right here. So something a little bit different, but again, pretty easy for you guys on the basic. The hard part is cutting the kits. So follow along. On the white piece of fabric that you're getting in your kits, I'd like you to hold it the long way, and we're going to cut a strip that's 7 inches wide. We're going to cut a 7-inch square. That 7-inch square is going to be trimmed down to 6 7/8 and then cut on the diagonal once. And you will only use one of those triangles in your block this month. From the remaining 7-inch strip, you're going to cut 2 rectangles, 3.5 by 6.5, and then from the very end, get a 4-inch square. The last strip you're going to make, the second strip rather, the only other one, is going to be cut 4 inches wide, and you're going to get 4 4-inch squares out of that. All right, so the red is the other one, pretty simple. We're going to start with the largest of the pieces, and your strip is going to be cut 4 inches wide. The first one's a 4-inch square, cut down another one to a 3 7/8, and then cut down a third square to 3.5. And then of course the blue and the multi are just 2 4-inch squares. Okay, so half square triangles to begin. Because our blocks, our finished squares, are going to be 3 inches. Typically a half square triangle, you would only add 7/8 of an inch to make a half square triangle when you put the 2 blocks together. So what we've done is I've had you cut them at 4, and we're going to go ahead and trim them down like I said previously. So the first thing you want to do in your kits when you get your pieces cut is you're going to have these 5 4-inch white squares that you've cut. You're going to go ahead and mark those on the diagonal using a friction pen, just from corner to corner one time. You're going to match those up with 2 blue, 2 multi, and 1 red 4-inch square. All right, so right now we'll just go ahead and work with this one. So each of these gets matched up with the other 4-inch squares. So we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch from either side. We're going to cut on the line, and then we're going to trim it down because these will be larger than 3.5 when we're finished. So let's go ahead and do that. I like to get nice and close to the line. I start my stitching off the square. These should all be 4-inch. If they're a little off, that's okay because remember, we're going to be trimming these. So let's go ahead and sew very accurate 1/4 of an inch from the line. And you're going to go through all 5 of these going down one side. That's called chain piecing. When you get to the last one, you can flip your whole strip around and come back up the other side. Oops. All right, so now we're going to come down this side. Okay, or not. So once you have your squares, cut, we're going to trim them on the line. And you're going to press these toward the or away from the white toward all the colors, and I have a couple extra here. So you will have an extra multi and you will have an extra blue. It's just the way it is, so we can get rid of that one. Okay, so having said trim down, we're going to take a look at our ruler. Now remember, the Creative Grid 8.5 by 12.5 has a black diagonal line that says 45 degrees on the 1/2 and 1/2 corner. The opposite corner has a whole inch. So what we're going to be working with is, because we want to cut these 3.5, we're going to work with that corner down here. So we're going to go ahead and put our square on the 45-degree line, and remember, because I have a 1/2 and a 1/2, I'm looking now that this block extends beyond the 3.5 because I want to trim my outside, and I'm going to flip it around and trim this one. But it's very important that this black 45-degree line goes right up the center of your half square triangle. So this makes for very accurate half square triangles without worrying about 7/8 and making sure everything is cut very, very accurately and sewn accurately. So there's a little wiggle room. Okay, so once again, I flipped it around. This time, I've trimmed this side, and I've put it right on the 3.5-inch line, and I've made my 45-degree go straight down the middle of my half square triangle. So you're going to trim all of your half square triangles just like this, and this is 3.5 finished at 3. All right, so a quick way to make half square triangles. So what you want to do is, when you're done with your half square triangles, you're actually just going to make a 9 patch. You're going to sew your 3 by 3 rows. This one is your square and not a half square. So you'll notice that I only have 3 of the multi, 3 of the blue, and 2 of the red. All right. So now let's work on our edges. All right, so we have our 3.5 by 6.5, and remember, this was our 3 7/8 cut on the diagonal once. So what we're going to do is we're going to match this on the 90-degree corner, and we're going to sew down this line. All right, so I'll put that over here, and I have one more, and this one also. I'm going to do the same thing to the other rectangle. So we have the corners matched up, and we're going to place it right there, and we're just going to come down, and it's going to come out a little bit, hopefully, you know, as close to that jog as possible. So here's my 1/4 of an inch. And we'll do it again. This one I've done. I start at the 90-degree corner and come right down. So these are going to get pressed toward the red. And we're going to go ahead and add those to our 9 patch. Okay. So here's our red. If it's going toward the red, I hold the red up and just give it a little bit of a press. A little bit of a press. Okay. Either way. All right, so now we have our 2 sides that we've just sewn. This one is going to get sewn to the right-hand side, and this one's to the bottom. So when we do that, again, we're just going to match our 90-degree corner of our 9 patch with this, matching our seams right here. And again, it's going to come out the edge. We're going to do one at a time and then press it, and then we're going to add the second one. So let's go over and go ahead and do that. I should keep going. So I match my seam down here, locking those seams. And we're going to match our raw edge right here, both sides right on top of each other. and go right off the edge. All right, so let's give this a press. Only 2 more seams and our block will be done. All right, so give our block a little bit of heat, and we're going to press it outward. All right, so there's half of our basket. And then the next to last, is this one here. And again, it's going to go with my 90-degree corner in the corner of my 9 patch. And we're going to sew it straight out this little intersection right there. All right, one more. Come over. Let's get that 90-degree right on top of each other. Okay. I'm going to match this seam. Just lock those in. It's going to come out this intersection right here. And that will ensure a really nice smooth base. Okay. And we'll go ahead and press this one, and we'll add the very last triangle. So again, this is getting pressed outward. So I just hold my iron, just give it a little press. And then I'm just going to go ahead and grab my triangle. And what I like to do is give my here, let me put the pin in there. Is fold this triangle in half. Give yourself a little finger press right here, and you know exactly where the corner of your 9 patch is, which is right here in the corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to match that little finger press with the corner, and we're going to let the rest of it hang off on either side. All right, so let's go ahead and sew that. Be careful because we have a lot of bias going on this block, so we want to make sure that we give our kits lots of best press when we get them. It gets a little bulky right here, but just hang on. Keep that right in line. And right out that little corner. That's it. The block is done. Just give it one last final press. And we have ourselves another block. All right, wonderful. So, bring in your October's finished block in the beginning Saturday, November 20th. To get your November kit free. We are doing a basic 2022 next year. It will be in person, in store, the 3rd Saturday of the month. We will also have a YouTube video if you can't make the class. All we ask is that when you come to pick up your free kit, you do bring your block with you, that it is finished. And you will have the rest of the remaining month after the video to bring in the previous month's block, okay? Sign-ups have started for next year. Please consider moving up to the intermediate, the regular sampler. I think it's not all that challenging. I think it's good for everybody to take. Consider coming out of basic and moving to the 2nd Saturday class. Black Friday sales are going on. Please check your email. And the day before Thanksgiving, which is Wednesday the 24th, we will in Southington be closing at 1 o'clock. Closed on Thanksgiving Day and open regular hours Friday and Saturday. I believe Fridays 10 to 5, Saturdays 10 to 4. So have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you for one more block in 2021. Thank you.